Boom. Wait. What? Oh, okay. Hey. Good morning.
Hello.
Thank you.
Hey.
There you go. There's people here. It's not just me. What in God's given earth were we doing last time? Oh yeah, we did a pooper shell. Pew. So I was thinking today, we're supposed to make a racing game, right? But there's no fucking racing. Like, there's no goal posts. There's no checkpoints. There's not even another player. What are we doing? Like racing against ourselves? That's boring. What is this? Trackmania? So I was thinking, since we're doing pooper shells and stuff, I mean, it would be very nice if we could hit another player with this. That would be fun. That would be kind of sick. So let's fucking do that. So we're gonna do 2 players, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys. It's been a fucking hot minute since I did this kind of thing. We're not gonna do like online multiplayer. We're gonna do local multiplayer, because. So I'm just gonna crank up the number of players here and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta check your shit. It's all glitching,
What?
flickering.
Yeah, the
your
stream is it's like flickering weirdly,
What the hell?
especially when you move the camera.
Bredbandskolle. Let's take a look.
I think it's probably something.
Looks pretty poked to me. I don't know. I guess it's Teams. I'll try restarting.
Yeah.
Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, this looks good. Okay, let's try it. Is it better now?
Hello, are you there, Emil?
Yes, I'm here. Hello.
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 Yeah, it's much better now.
Okay,
I don't know
good.
why it was
Thank you.
It's
flickering.
okay now.
Are you guys just gagging with me? Right, so difficulties aside. Well, that's not what I wanted at all. So now we're just playing 2 games. 2 different games. I didn't even know that was an option, but apparently it is. So you can start 2 games at the same time. Why not? Right. So there's probably one way. There's probably some ways to kind of fucking... Oh, hands are dry. There's probably some way to like... like configure this to start up with 2 players. But I was thinking... let's just do... oh, goodness. Let's just do it ourselves because it's good to know. So we're gonna learn how to add new players to the game. What that entails. And thinking also we can just do like some custom spawning of the player characters, or the player cars. Because right now we're just placing one in a level, and we have to like remember to be like, oh shit, I have to auto-possess it, and oh god, where is it, and I have to find it and stuff. So I'm thinking like, let's make some sort of goal post or something, or some start point that we can specify like, okay, how many players do I want in a game, and they will just spawn up that many cars together with all those players, and then just go. Won't that be fun?
Yeah.
Sounds awesome.
Thanks. Yeah, I am awesome actually. So we're gonna do that. So let's make a new file. So it's gonna go in here. We'll do I will actually make a new folder. I'll call it level. Sure. I will do Race start line. Sure. I made those. I'll just head over and fucking generate that shit. We like you less and less. Michael, you take that back. I'm just trying to hurt my feelings. My feelings!
Do you have a level folder?
I made one.
Okay, and where did you put the new files?
In that folder. God, my hands are so dry. I need to put on some fucking ointment.
And what did you call the files?
Raise start line. I need water. Hold on. Man, I feel like my mental state is so like expressed in my house. There's like 2 McDonald's bags over there just laying in the fucking hallway. So whenever I have to walk through the room, I have to like walk over them, and I could throw them away, but that takes energy that I don't have. Alright, so we're gonna reload.
That's the most relatable thing you've ever said.
I've ever said. So just gonna open these up. I'm just gonna close everything else. Let's see, close all but this. So we're gonna pragma R1s. We got a I know remap JK escape. Okay. I'm gonna include game framework actor. We're gonna U class a race start line. Make a little constructor here, why not? Why the heck yours not? Looks good to me. I don't think I see anything wrong with this. Do you see anything wrong?
Yes.
What's wrong?
Generated body.
Generated header.
Very good. What is it called?
Raise start line dot generated dot h.
Very good. Good. Done now, right?
Generated body.
Yes, thank you. Cool. How neat. I'm just gonna make a let's just make a let's just make a scene component as the root. It's a standard procedure here. Oops. Okay. So let's see. Will it work though? Indeed it does. Okay. So let's override this in Blueprint. It's the standard swing of things. As always, I'll make a new level folder here. A little bit confusing, but quite standard, I think. I won't say that confidently. So we'll make a start line. There we go. I'll override this raise start line here. BP start line. Bay pay.
Could you go back to the code again for the start line files?
All right. So, are you good? So we're gonna have this actor on begin play. It's just gonna spawn up a bunch of players. We're gonna see how that works, like the actual player. When I'm saying spawn up the players, I mean like the actual player system. We're gonna talk about that soon, and then also spawn out the car actors and make sure that all players have a car they can drive. So that's gonna be the start line's goal in life. Goal, get it? I guess it's not called goal in racing, right? It's called like the finish line. So, let's just make this pretty. So it's gonna add. I'm gonna make sure that the X points in the right direction. Actually, I'm gonna make an arrow. I'm just gonna search arrow. Here's an arrow. I'm just gonna add this just so we have a reference for what the forward of this actor is. I'm not gonna rotate this at all. I'm just gonna keep it as it is. But I'm just gonna add it in so that we have some sort of reference for forward. And then I'll add 2 cylinders, I guess. So let's make them tall. Something like that. Whoa. Let's copy that over. I will turn off collision on the meshes. So on the meshes, I'm just gonna select no collision. And yeah, looks good to me. I don't see a problem with this. Looks pretty fantastic, I would say. So now we should be able to draw out the start line. There it is. Perhaps we should make it a little bit bigger. I'm just gonna move these cylinders a little bit. Hold on. Let's make it 150 by minus 150. There we go. I just typed in the Y value here manually just to move the goalpost out. Yeah, looks good. Looks fucking neat.
What did you do about collision?
Sorry?
What did you do about collision? Did you do block
Yeah, I just
everything? Or?
Turn it off on all the meshes. So you selected no collision in the collision preset there. It's a Californication. Right, so now when we play, of course, nothing. I'm just gonna one player. There we go. So of course it doesn't do anything right now. We just added the actor. Very lazily, might I add. So let's actually make it do something. So what I am going to do is that I am going to well, for this to spawn the car, it actually needs to know what the car actor is. And since the car is in blueprint, like the actual car that we're using, here it is. And we kind of want to reference that from C++, I think. So we can actually do the spawning and shit in C++. We, of course, need to make a T subclass of the car, so that it know which type of car to spawn. So I am going to make a U property. It's gonna be edit defaults only, baby. Edit defaults, baby. And then I'm gonna make a category for race. Sure. So I'm gonna make a T subclass of a race car. Car class. So now the start line will know which class of car to spawn.
Where did we do the category thing again?
Here. What do you mean?
Yeah. Yeah, like what is it? Why?
I can show you in I can show
Okay.
you in a second. So now we have a car class. So now if I restart game. Restart game. Oh no.
We don't need to declare the
Yes,
class.
you're so smart. You are absolutely right. So I'm gonna forward declare a race car. Thank you for fixing my bugs. I also named this wrong, So I did the edit default here. Edit default only, but it's edit defaults plural. So I fucked up there. That's my bad. So now we should be able to go into our start line. And in class defaults, so I'm in the start line. Class defaults, we have a category here now called race. What a coincidence. That's exactly what I put in here. How nice. So now we have a category race, and here we have car class that we can set. So I'll do BB car. Isn't that lovely? I'm gonna be singing fucking Amazing Grace at your graduation, because you know, to get ready for that.
Yay!
But I will cry really hard, so it won't really be like audible what I'm actually singing. It will be more like just tears being propagated into your faces, and you have to like it. You have to smile. The less you smile, the harder I cry. So I'm gonna place out my start line now. And of course still nothing happens, because we haven't actually done any of the spawning logic or anything. So that's nothing too out of the ordinary. Nothing too weird there. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna spawn it. Controversial. So we're gonna go and go ahead and fucking do that. So I will make a begin play. Just override that bad boy. Whoops. Whoops. Of course, we have to remember to call super, because it does a bunch of really important stuff for some reason. What the hell? I don't know why it's not showing up in TeleSense, but thanks. Thanks, TeleSense. And then we're gonna spawn them. So I'm gonna do spawn actor. God, my autocomplete is just oh yeah, it's get world, right? Get world. There we go. It was me. It was my fault. And then we'll do what the hell am I doing? Spawn actor, right?
What was get word again?
So that gets the world. So the world is kind of the overarching, or an overarching object in Unreal. It kind of keeps track of all the levels. It keeps track of which actors are spawned, and so on. So you can see it like the. I don't know the Unreal the Unity equivalent, but you can see it. That's the game. The game. It's the game. It's kind of weird, yeah.
But how does it know, like, if we had several levels, how would it know in which level to spawn?
So the world lives sort of above the levels. So the world essentially has just an array of all the levels inside of it. So you can see that, like, when you want to load a new level, for example, you would do that in the world. So you say like, oh, world, load new level, and it would load a new level for you. I'm not quite sure if there is a Unity equivalent, but there probably is. But you can see that's the overarching object for the game. So we're gonna spawn actor. A race car. I'll use I'll use this version, why not? Looks pretty good. So we'll provide a class. And of course the class will be car class. So that's the type of car that we're gonna spawn. And in this case, of course, it will be the BP version of the car. Then I'll spawn it at get active location. Sure. Why the heck not? Uh-oh. What went wrong? Let's just check that again. There's so many different versions of this shit. Okay, let's just use this version there that takes a transform instead. So class and a transform. So I'll do actor transform. Then we get rotation and everything for free. Unfortunately also scale, but let's not scale the... So we're getting a bunch of errors here. Use of undefined type A race actor. So that's not good. What do we do?
Include.
Include, baby. Include. FG. The hell was it called? FG racing game. Player race car. That's my path to the list. You can sort of just look in the solution browser here to figure out what the path to your race car is. If you have something different. Alright. Let's see what happens then if I hit play. Ta-da! Ta-da!
Whoa, man.
Oh my goodness. It's a wonderful world. So we got a whole new car.
Mine instead took control over the just spawned car, but the camera's not working as it should.
Oh yeah. So did you in the car blueprint you probably checked the auto? Yeah, oh goodness.
Possess.
Yeah, here.
Something, right?
Yeah, so you probably set auto possess player as the class default in the blueprint rather than on the instance here. So you probably want to change that.
Should it be disabled in?
Yeah, in the actual blueprint it should be disabled. Otherwise, as soon as you spawn a new car, it will be it will be like auto possessing that new car every time.
Now I'm possessing some small gray ball instead.
You might have to go, like, if you have one placed in the level, you might want to go to that one and auto possess that one. So on the instance here, I've auto possessed player 0.
Okay.
So that we're possessing this one, but every time we spawn a new one, it doesn't get like automatically possessed. This kind of hangs out. I mean, we're gonna get rid of the system soon. Now that we have the start line, we're gonna do the possessing ourselves, but just so you at least have the same that I have.
Well, I can tell you right now that I don't have the same thing that you have, but I wrote the code exactly like you did.
Yeah, sure you did. I'm sure you did. Okay, what's going wrong?
I don't get like a second card to spawn. I don't know why.
Did you set the? Okay, let's look at it.
Did I set what?
Let's look at it.
Yeah. This one, hopefully. So, what do I need to set here?
I think I see the problem. Go to your start line actor in code.
Let's see, my start line actor in code. This one.
Well, I see
E-
unchanged in assets. So I'm guessing Ryder is telling you haven't actually set that class in the blueprint.
Yeah, probably not.
So let's go look at that then.
I don't think I have one of those blueprints. So what's the blueprint that I need to have?
Blueprint class. And then start line.
Raise start. Oops.
You type 2 R's.
And then we need to have like, what was it, like a cylinder or something?
Yeah, I mean it doesn't really matter, but you set the car class in there in the class defaults.
Let's see, class defaults. Oh, this one. The baby car. Can I just drag it out without having like a visual representation of the thing?
Yeah, you can just drag it out.
Yeah. Figure that's faster than trying to make it look all nice.
Yeah, don't worry about that right now.
Let's just put it here and let's see.
Well, it doesn't look
No.
doesn't look promising.
No. See.
Yeah, looks good to me.
Did I miss an include here somewhere? Game framework. Pragma once. Don't know.
You have
Probably
recompiled, right?
Yeah, I probably should do that.
Save
before.
first. Save everything first.
Yeah. That's a thing I forgot to do yesterday. I was working on it. I was like, why the hell does nothing work?
Yes.
I'd forgotten to recompile it. Stop.
Whoa, that opened fast. Holy shit. Well, it's not spawning for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay,
It's probably some earlier thing that I forgot to do.
I get a log warning that says something about the spawn position, so maybe try to raise up the...
Oh yeah, there we go. Spawn actor failed because of collision at the spawn location.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is a really annoying thing about Unreal that I hate. So I'm gonna show you that.
What does that mean?
Yeah, I'll
That's
show you.
interesting. Yeah.
So the thing with spawning actors is Unreal, in Unreal, is that it will actually check collision when you're trying to spawn. And if it decides like, oh, there's no way I can spawn here, then it just doesn't spawn at all, which is super annoying. I can probably force that to happen if I just kind of make this really big. I'll make the collision like super huge. Well, it works for me. I don't know why. I should be getting the same error as you guys. How big is my box here? Let's make this bigger.
Yeah, it was that problem that the start line was too close to the floor or something. that
Yeah,
made
let's just
not
make
spawn.
it super.
That's,
Let's just
that's
fucking
interesting.
put it in the floor. No, what the hell? Well, the thing is that if I go
Oh.
to class defaults,
Why is your box so big here?
well, I just made it big to force this to happen,
Ah,
to force it to spawn it like while it's in collision.
yeah.
So the thing is here you can see spawn collision handling method. If I go to class defaults on the car, we have the spawn collision handling method. And here you can see it's set to try to adjust location, don't spawn if still colliding. So that's sort of the defaults. At least for pawns for some reason, I'm not quite sure. Maybe it says default here, but I've never seen that. But you can see there's a bunch of different options here. So you have like always spawn, ignore collisions. That's like kind of how I would expect it to work. To be like, if I'm trying to spawn something inside of a collision, just wrap it up to me being dumb and just do it. Here's like try to adjust location but always spawn. So that's like if it will try to adjust the hitbox to be outside of collision. But even if it fails, it will still spawn it. And here we have like do not spawn, which is just like if there is collision, don't do anything, just don't spawn. Like, so the only valid way to spawn this car would be like when it's not colliding with anything. So if I set this do not spawn, then probably I will getting the same thing as you guys. So if I just go, yeah. So now you can see there's no car here. Because it detected while it tried to spawn the car, it just detected that, okay, I'm spawning the car within some collision. So then it just won't spawn it at all. I don't like this. I hate this. I think it's such a dumb system. I'm not quite sure why it's such a pivotal part of Actor. It would be, I would assume this would be like a different system, but again, it just kind of is what it is. So I'm just gonna do try to adjust location, but always spawn. I'm just gonna use that. So if we're trying to spawn it within something, like within some sort of collision. So right now it's like when I'm spawning this, it will be colliding with the floor. It will try to move it. So right now this has been moved up a little bit to like sort of get it out of the collision. But if it fails, if it finds like there's no easy way for me to move this out of collision, it will still at least spawn it. So it doesn't just fail to spawn it, which is quite scary and dangerous. So again, on the BP car, gonna go to class defaults. And the spawn collision handling method in class defaults, I will just set to try to adjust location but always spawn. To make sure that we always get a car out of it.
It doesn't work if I do that either.
What?
It's so weird. I have to actually move the whole thing up a little bit.
Is the car like under the ground perhaps?
Oh, that could also be. Let's see.
Try to eject and look under.
Mine's spawning in the ground, so.
Yeah, that could happen as well. Like if I move this down enough, since my floor is not that... let's just shrink this down a little bit. If I make the floor quite shallow, and then I move the goalpost down a little bit, I should probably see... Yeah. Now you can see it moved it out of the... it moved it out of collision, but it just moved it down instead of up. So now my car is under the ground. How helpful. Thank you, Unreal. So I'm just gonna hit end. I'm just gonna move the goal or the start line up, and then just hit end to make sure that it's firmly on the ground. And hopefully it should work. It's not working, Nicholas.
No, it's so weird.
Are you still getting the same, like in the output log, saying it doesn't work?
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. It's like whatever of those handling methods I try, it's the same outcome.
Show me.
Okay.
Show me. Show you.
Let's see. I think I'm...
You're changing it on the start line. You gotta change it on the car.
on the car.
Yeah, the car is the thing being spawned.
Okay.
Oh,
The
you
car's
dumb
on
dumb.
fire,
Oh,
dude.
you little dummy.
Ah, so
You
dumb.
should probably get out.
Yeah, you
Oh,
should.
yeah.
You should run. All right. No, it's all good. I suspected that would happen. Did you see the sick donuts I'm doing? I'm pretty good.
I'm still confused every time I see a car that it's going backwards.
How do I make this look not bad then? I'll put that.
Move the green box.
I'll do this. There, now it's like an old. There we go. Now it looks like a car. Now that's a car, baby. Okay.
That's a Koenigsegg, right?
What?
The Swedish supercar.
It looks like one of those like old carriage cars, actually. Maybe I should have a horse. Okay, so we have a car. So it's spawning it, but of course it's not possessing anything. So if I remove this previous car, like the baby car is referenced by the, I see, so it's referenced by, if referenced by other things, but I'm just gonna not bother. Then I play. Oh, is this like the default pawn actually? Yeah, it is. Yeah, so we got some weirdness now that it's spawning like the default pawn here, which is a little bit annoying, but fine. But of course, yeah, so if I remove the initial car here, then it's just gonna spawn some sort of default pawn that I have set, and this I think is the spectator pawn, like the default one. And you know, that's lame. So what we're gonna do is that after we've spawned this car, I want to possess it. Alright, so I want whatever, I'm gonna spawn a car and then have a player controller possess that car. So let's do that. So I'm gonna say, after we spawn the car, so I'll save it as a variable. Then we want to fetch the player controller. And I'm not... Where was that? Was that gameplay? Is it get world? Player controller. Oh, there it is. Get first player controller. So I'm gonna fetch the player controller and I'm gonna call possess pawn. Okay, just possess, never mind. There we go. So we're spawning a car, and then we're just getting the first player controller and having that possess that car that we just spawned. Are you struggling, Thomas? Oh, okay. You look like you were thinking very hard.
Yes, because we're spawning an actor and we're possessing a pawn.
Well, it's just because our actor it's a pawn. It's inheriting from pawn, right? See, Unreal, they love inheritance. It's great. Ta-da!
It's maybe great, but sometimes confusing.
Yes. Yeah, so we have some other problems now. It worked. Hold on, let me remove this. So it worked, however, the camera's fucked up. So that's not good. So we're gonna solve these problems in 10 minutes. So let's take a 10-minute break, and then we'll look at why this is happening. Alright, so I'll see you guys in 10 minutes. Whoops. Let me just bring this up. Whoops. Hey guys.
Welcome back.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I got a mild case of really have to shit itis. But I beat it and now I'm back. So let's go. Yes, we have some problems. Just a few. So, why is the camera borked?
Because we set the target in the scene
Sorry?
on the instance. Because we set the camera target in the instance. No?
On the instance of what? Of the old car?
I was thinking that maybe it picks like a standard camera thing because we haven't told it what to do when the car gets possessed.
You're onto the right track. Both of you are onto the right track. So, we have this camera, right? And the way it worked was that in the gameplay of the camera, if we go to the camera, here. So in the begin play of the camera, we actually set the view target. And as you said, if there's no view target, it will use kind of a default view target, where it's just kind of the camera will be at the actor. Is that a dog? Is that a real dog?
You missed something, didn't you?
Oh, look, a good boy. Oh my god, that's such a good boy or girl. Or whatever it wants to be. Okay, I'm happier now. Thank you. Yeah, so the problem is that we set on begin play, we set the view target. The problem is if I log here, a raise camera, begin play. And I log in the start lines begin play. A raise start line. Let's check this out. I don't like that Michael's message, we like you less and less. I don't like that that's the last message in chat. Can someone else say something? Something positive, please. Let's go and summarize something nice in chat.
Which chat you're talking about?
The
Jag
teams.
vet inte annars.
We wrote a shouldn't.
Yeah,
What?
there's been a lot of.
Scroll down.
I'm just disconnected again. Oh, fucking god. Damn it! Okay, give me 1 second. Hello? No, it's just stuck there. I guess I got kicked.
Wow, 2 emails.
I guess I got kicked. Wait, who's this EA guy? EA guest? Who's that? Is that me? I'm having an outer body experience. Alright, so if we check the output log now. Excuse me, sorry. We can see here that the race camera begin play happens before. Wait, I see that, David. Why did I see David Bang's message but not no one else's? What the hell is going on? So I see the race camera begin play happens before the start lines begin play. Yeah, I see that as well, Michael. I poop. Yes, I hear you, Emilia. Thank you. So the problem is that the race camera overrides the view target of the player controller. So that works fine. The problem is then that the start line comes in and tells the player controller to you dropped this king. the start line comes in and tells the player controller to possess another actor. And what happens then? The player controller will update its view target again to be whatever the actor is. So we do override the camera, and that does happen, but immediately afterwards the start line comes in and just ruins everything. So that's the problem. How annoying. Frustrating even. Now, I don't know, I was gonna see. Is there like possessed params here? No. Is there anything I can do here? Get first player controller. This is me like looking around. View. View a player. Is there like a... Is there like a don't... Like don't set view target when possessing it or something like that? Let's look into possess. Let's see what happens in here. How bad can it be? Oh god. Let's see. Notification on possess. Receive possess. What happens in on possess then? Let's go there. Alright, so it gets the pawn. It says like, oh, is this a new pawn? Then unpossess the old one. Blah blah blah. Update some sort of control rotation. What happens in set pawn? What happens in here? Whoops. Some shit's removed. Attached to pawn. That looks pretty interesting. Let's go there. Well, it's like functions calling functions calling functions. Well, I don't see anything in here that should... I don't see anything in here that should... Okay, what happens if I do set view target? Okay, never mind. What is it called? I'm just doing some fucking spelunking here. Now you could ask, why didn't I not do this before the class? Before the class started? And I would say, shut your mouth. That's what I would say. So get some player camera manager and that's a set view target.
I can respect that.
So that's the view target here. So let's see if we can find a way. Actually, this is a controller. I don't want to look in here. I want to look at player controller. I want to look at player controller. Here. This probably does a bunch of shit. Oh, my camera is off. Oh, sorry. There you go. Hello? Here, let's go to the CPP file. Oh, we are here. Okay, cool. So let's see what changes, what uses the camera manager. Set controlling director. I don't know what that does. Actor eyes viewpoint, get player viewpoint, blah blah blah, update rotation, blah blah blah, I don't care. Destroy, I don't care. Field of view, I don't care. Set camera mode, I don't care. Man, I don't care. So I don't care. Let's just fucking, let's debug. Let's just debug and see what happens. I'm just gonna go into... I'll just debug right there. And let's just see what happens. I'm just gonna play. So here's where we possess the pawn. And let's take a little dive. Let's take a little peekaroni. Hit F11. Okay, well that's not good. Stop. Let's just restart. I changed something apparently. If we wanted to make split screen MP, we could spawn a new camera when we spawn the player, right? Yeah, we could do that. That's what I'm thinking will be the... I mean, right now I'm just doing some exploration just because it's fun. But what I'm thinking is that the start line, like that will be like kind of the last resort, will be like the start line. When it spawns the players, it will also spawn the game camera. Which is kind of nice, because then we don't have to like remember to always like place a camera in the level and whatever. But I just want to see if I'm dumb here, because like I said, I haven't used player controllers a lot. So let's just go in here and see what happens. And kind of get you guys used to like just hopping in through the I don't care about those. Hopping in the Unreal code and just seeing what happens. See what's going on here. What's this? To preserve backward compatibility, we keep notifying. Let's just close this. We keep notifying derived classes for null pawn. Okay, well that's nice. I'm guessing this doesn't do anything interesting. Unpossessed. Control rotation. Is anything with the camera? Client restart. What the hell's that do? Oh! Reset camera mode! Bruh! Oh! B! Auto manage active camera target! Bruh! We found something! Oh, look at this. Oh. Okay. Well, there's our magic pool that I shut down the game. Why did I do that? We found our magic pool. Auto manage active camera target. How nice. We can just fucking just shut that off. So I'm gonna do that. So I'm gonna head over into race start line. And I will just try this. I'll do get world, get first player controller, be auto. Oh, is it private? Let's go look at it. Go to definition. Oh, it is public. Be auto manage active camera target. Okay. Be auto manage active camera target. Set that bad boy to false. See guys, now we've learned something. We learn, and it will work, I hope. If it doesn't work, then I'm sorry. This was wasted time. Would be cool though if it worked. Would be pretty cool. So yeah, this is how I usually go about learning stuff about Unreal. It's kind of like, okay, what happens in Possessor? You kind of step into there and you just like step through the code and seeing what runs, and that's where you usually figure out these sort of things, like how to use things. Let's play. Ta-da! And there we go. So now, even though we're possessing a new pawn, since we set this auto manage active camera target to false, then it didn't matter. Then even though we are possessing a new actor, it won't actually try to reset the view target to that new car. It will just keep whatever view target was set before. How fucking nice. So that's cool. So now we're spawning a car and possessing it. How nice. Of course, we want more players. So let's add some more players then. So I will do this. I will make an integer.
But the camera didn't follow the car.
Yeah, so that's the second problem, right? That we're gonna fix in a moment. Where our follow camera right now, for it to follow something, we have to set it in here, remember? Yeah, here, like camera follow actor. We have to set like an actor reference for it to follow. The problem is that we're spawning the player after the game starts. So it's not in the level. So there's no way for me to select the player from here, like we had before. So we're gonna have to update the camera in a moment to actually like kind of get the players and then start following them even if they're spawned later in the game. I want to make that work in a little while. Don't worry about it. But first I want to spawn more players. So I'm gonna make a U property. I'll make it edit anywhere, whatever. Category race. And I'll make an int that's just number of players. Bow, bow, bow. So now we have a number of players integer. So now what I'm gonna do is that instead of you spawning one car and then just getting the first player controller, instead I'm just gonna spawn this many cars and loop through the player controller so that they all have a car to play with. How nice. So yum, 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 yum. So I'm gonna do 4 int I equals 0, use a standard for loop. Then I'm going to do system in world add player. Create player. Player. Well, we have a player now. Welcome player. The hell was that, dude? Yeah, so it's not actually in the world. It's actually in the get game mode. Yeah. No, not set game mode. Game mode. Okay, it's not there. How do you get the game mode now again? Is it in like you gameplay? I don't remember where that function is. So the problem is that it's the game mode that actually controls players and so on. There you
Is it set game mode that you're looking for?
Sorry?
Set game mode?
Well, we don't want to set the game mode. We want to get the game mode. But here I found it. It's in view gameplay statics. Oh, it just returns like this get auth game mode. Okay, so we're just gonna use this then. Get auth game mode. I don't know why it's called auth, but whatever. So I'm just gonna fetch that here. Game mode get sorry, u game mode. Game mode is equal to get world get auth game mode. Wait, is that an actor? Hold on, what is this? What does this function actually return? Oh, it is an actor. Holy fuck, I didn't know game modes were actors. Okay, so we got this is the type that it returns. That's a game mode base. So, a game mode base. Okay. My bad, I thought it was a new object, but it's actually an actor. That's interesting. So now we got the game mode. And if you guys remember from the very first week, the game mode is the thing that kind of handles what is the default player controller class, what is the default pawn class, what is the default spectator class. Like, it's quite a bloated class, I would say. I'm not the biggest fan, which is why I'm kind of like not very familiar with it. So it handles everything to do with like the players, like what the players do. And if you want to go full Unreal, then game modes, like Sahil has been talking about, the game mode will keep track of like, you know, is it capture the flag? Is it like, you know, is it team deathmatch? And then it will handle the logic based on that. It will, okay, if it's team deathmatch, then okay, who's the leader? Like all of that stuff together with the game state and so on. It's quite a whole thing. We're not gonna get into that though. We only want to use it to actually spawn new players, so that we have more players in the game. So now that we have the game mode, we can do game mode. Hello? Is it forward declared? No. It is forward declared. Okay, so we need to include it. So I will include it. Let's see where it is. Game mode base. It's in, let's see, source, runtime, engine, classes. Okay, so it's in game framework. Okay, so it's the same as actors. I'll do game framework, game mode base.h. Oh, we should do that include. I'm so scared of auto includes. I always want to just include those myself. Okay, so hopefully now we should see some. Okay, there we go. Now we have some nice things. So here we should have something like here, spawn player controller. Doesn't that look sound nice? Swap player controllers. You can do a bunch of shit. The one we want to do is probably create player, add player. Ah, what is the function called? I don't remember. Hold on, I missed that. Here, create player. Oh, that's in gameplay statics. We don't even need the fucking player controller, or sorry, the game mode. I'm bad. It's in gameplay statics. Oh, to the game instance. Okay, well, as I've said, I am not the most familiar with this shit, but it seems like it's actually it was actually the game instance of that. But okay, that's interesting. Anyway, we're just gonna use
wait,
this.
what's the difference here?
Sorry.
What's the difference? You gameplay statics.
Yeah, so you gameplay statics is just a static library of functions. So if I go here, like it's just a library that has a bunch of static functions. So you can see this as just global functions, really. And luckily, this U gameplay statics has this. There, create player, and that's the one we want. We want create player. So great. So we didn't need any of this. I'm sorry. We don't need a game mode. Bye bye. Really only need this U gameplay statics. And we need to include it. So I'm just gonna remove this include because we don't need it. Let's see here. Where is gameplay statics? Let's see.
Kismet.
Yeah, use Kismet. Okay, cool. So we'll just do include Kismet gameplay statics. So now we have access to this U gameplay statics function library. So now if I do : here we see we have a bunch of static functions that we can call. And I'm gonna call create player. There we go. Right. So it has a few things. We have our world context object here. And I know some people asked about that yesterday, what world context object means.
It was me.
It was you. You're the one. So, yeah, so the thing is that since this is a static function, it's not the function on some kind of view object. It's not the function on an actor or something. It's just a static function. Anything can call this at any moment. That means the static function needs to know, like, okay, which world do you want to create the player in? Because a world is like the overarching object for a game instance, right? But of course, since we can run the game in multiplayer, like Sahil has been showing you guys, like here we can do like number of players, as many as we want. it needs to know, like, okay, you want to create a player, but in which world? Because there's 3 worlds. Like, there's the main world, and then maybe the server world, and like client world, and so on. And they all kind of exist at the same time. So it needs to know, like, okay, sure, create a player, but where? So that's what the world context object is there for. To actually figure out, like, okay, which world is this being called from? Because it could be called from any world.
And how do we know what our world is called? I mean, the one that we are using right now.
Well, we could use to do get world, like we've been doing here, to get like the player controller and whatnot. So we could use return it. We could use send in get world if we wanted to. But in the end, the world context object just means like, give me any U object that exists inside of the world you want to work in. So just give me like anything that exists in that particular world where you want to spawn a player. So it doesn't really matter what we send in. Like, usually you send in this to just mean like, oh, whatever world I am in, like this particular start line, whichever world this particular start line is in, you create a player in that world. So that's what the world context object means. It is particularly important just for static functions that are, you know, they could be called from literally anywhere. So that's why they need to know, okay, I'm doing a thing, but where am I doing the thing? In the client, on the server, in the editor, so on. Then we have a controller ID, and that means which player, which ID do we want to create this player on? And this is just like, is it the first player, second player, third player, fourth player, and so on. -1 means that I will just create a new one wherever there isn't a player right now. I'm just gonna type in I. And that's it. Very simple. So we're just gonna loop through number of players. So I'm just gonna say like, oh, create the ith player. And I'm hoping, if that player exists, it will just return the player controller of that player. I'm hoping that. And you know, I'm hoping. I'm not expecting it, but I'm hoping it. So we create the controller at that particular ID. And then we have this spawn player controller. That's true by default. And that is just because there are a bunch of other stuff when it comes to players. So much shit that I don't really want to go into, but there's a lot more to a player than just a player controller. There's so much other stuff going on behind the scenes when it comes to players. So that's just like, okay, do you only want to spawn the internal stuff, or do you also want to spawn a player controller? And we're gonna say like, yeah, we also want the player controller, because it's gonna possess a gosh darn pawn. So I'm just gonna not put that. This is defaulted, it's true. I'm just not gonna put anything there. So there we go. Create player. We took a little bit of a weird route to get there, but we got there. Okay. So this create player will return a player controller, and it will be the player controller of that particular player. So I'm just gonna save that. Player controller. It's equal to that. Right. So now we made that player, and we have the player controller. So now we can just do the rest of the everything. We can just make sure they have a car. Make sure that they don't fucking change their camera for no reason. God damn it, and then we'll possess. So let's do player controller. Whoops. Be auto manage whatever is false. Did I spot a car? I'll also offset the car a little bit. I'll do it later, whatever. I'm lazy. And then I'll just possess it. There we go. So we're creating the player, making sure the camera doesn't change, spawning the car, and then telling that player controller to possess the car. So now we should loop through however many players we want to spawn, make sure they have a player controller, and then spawn the actor and possess that actor. I didn't even know you had like cars in Boden. I thought you were still working with like horses. Like you took your horse to school. Or moose, I guess, in Sweden. So I'm just gonna restart.
Confirmed.
And let's see what happens. That's on Mother's Day. What's on Mother's Day you ride to your mom on a horse? That's pretty nice. Yeah, your mom looks like a horse, huh? I'm sorry. Okay, so let's see then. So if I play,
Ouch.
that's not good. So this create player seems to return a null pointer. Let's debug this. Thanks, David. So let's just debug this and see what happens. So I'm gonna play. So we're trying to create a player controller at index 0. I'm guessing since it already exists, since the player 0 sort of gets created by default, I'm guessing that's why it's having some issues here. Let's see. Yeah, so this is calling create local player, and that's what I meant with internal. So this will be like the internal player thingy. So I need to go in there and look. I need to restart again. Good thing it's so fast. Look at this. Takes what, 5 seconds? 10 maybe? Let's play. Let's create player. Then it is create local player. See what happens here. Yeah, so here you can see it's trying to find a local player with that ID. And if that's not null, then I'm guessing it just, yeah, it just returns. Yeah, so what I feared came true. If there already is a player with that ID, then it won't create anything. So what I feared came true. That's my life. So we have to be a little bit careful then. We can't just create players willy-nilly. First we have to actually make sure that they don't already exist. Because if they do exist, then create player will turn null. So I'm gonna first... Can I do this? Gameplay statics. Get player controller. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I'm first gonna get it from gameplay statics. I'm gonna use the same function library. I'm gonna call this get player controller from IDs. First, I'm gonna try to get it to see if there already exists a player controller with that ID. Again, we have to provide a world context. So I'm gonna provide this. And then from controller ID, I'm gonna type I. So I'm gonna say first, hey, does it exist a player controller with this ID? And if it doesn't, then we create it. So I will check if player controller is null pointer, then create the player. So first try to get it. If it doesn't exist, like there is no player like there is no third player or whatever, then create the third player. So there we go. Even though what I feared came true, we persevered. We got through it. And we learned something. Whoa. Oh, right. I set number of players at 3. Whoops. Let's bring that back down. Yeah. So now, move the camera back a little bit. Whoops. So now the player spawns no problem. Of course, now we have set num players to be 1. So let's set num players to be 2 and see what happens. So I'll play. And yeah, immediately we have some issues, right? This doesn't look kind of like what we wanted. We have split screen, which is quite cool. But first of all, they're stuck in each other. And second of all, I don't think we want split screen here. And yeah, so we have some issues here. But we made good progress.
Can we see the code again?
Yes. And we'll fix those problems after lunch. But now I'm gonna take the fucking most wicked power nap of your life, alright? It's gonna be fucking sick. So any questions about what we did before we head off?
At Hazelight, did you just not use any of this?
Yeah, at Hazelight we didn't use any of this. Which is why I'm a little bit... I'm not the most experienced with it now, I would say. I mean, I kind of know about it because we used it a lot in like at huge games and stuff. And some for like personal projects and so on. But not well enough to like know every ins and out of it. So, yeah, I'm guessing that Sahil will be way more knowledgeable about this stuff than I am. But you're stuck with me, so you know, deal with it. Woo! Yeah, let's take lunch. I'll leave this up, and then yeah, enjoy your lunch, and I'll see you guys in an hour. So 13:00. Save the date. Okay, bye bye.